This is Donna with More Than a Review, and I'm thrilled to be here with another Donna. And so we are going to talk about her two beautiful books that she has out. Look at this. This is perfect time for Christmas too. We're always loving, and back to school. I love, I'm always trying to encourage kids to read. For people who follow me, they'll know that with my nieces and nephews.
Yes, me too.
So Donna, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll start talking about the books.
Okay, first of all, I want to say I'm a multi-award winning author. I won the one book, Bink and Slinky's Christmas Adventure, won first place Golden Scroll Award in 2020. Unfortunately, that was the year of COVID, and so it never went anywhere. So I just had it republished with a new cover at the suggestion of some of my writing friends.
That's cool.
And I live in Rochester, Indiana, with my Prince Charming of 52 years.
Wow,
and
congratulations.
We've never had children of our own, Donna, but I adore my nephews and nieces, and now great nephews and nieces.
Wow.
And so that's why I started writing for children after being a performing arts director most of my life.
Wow, that's amazing. So did you always think you would want to write?
Well, I've written all my life. You know, it's one of those kids that the teachers always read your stories, you know, not bragging, but that was true. And I attribute that to all the fairy tales I read when I was a kid. We didn't have a lot of picture books then, but we did have these big, thick books of Grimm's fairy tales and Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales, and they really sparked my imagination. So, in essence, what I like to write are modern-day fairy tales.
There you go.
From a Christian worldview.
There you go. So let's talk a little bit about Bink and Slinky, and we have them
Bink
here.
And Slinky. They came to visit too.
There you go. They'll be part of the interview.
Good.
So tell us a little bit about the book, and then kind of what inspired you to write it.
Okay, well, I was on the worship team at church, and the guy next to me, I don't remember why, he leaned over and said, "You know, Donna, it took a lot of perseverance for the snails to reach the ark." And I thought, oh, wouldn't that make a wonderful children's book? So the first one was Bink and Slinky's Ark Adventure. Bink and Slinky are two groovy snails on assignment from God to help his children fulfill their life's destinies. So of course they had to get on the ark first before that could ever happen. So this Bink and Slinky's Christmas Adventure is actually the third book in the series. The second one is Bink and Slinky's Pyramid Adventure, and the story of how they helped Joseph when he sold into slavery in Egypt.
That is awesome. So what do you feel like sets this book apart?
The giggle-delicious rhyme. Okay, at first when I started writing, people kept saying, "Oh, publishers don't like rhyme," and I kept saying, "But I do it good," and I do. I've run several poetry awards, so the whole series is told in rhyme, along with a little song that Bink and Slinky always sing when they get in trouble. And I teach that to kids in classroom visits, and they love it. And parents and grandparents just make up their own tune to the story, to the song, but it's in all the books.
Yeah, oh, that's great. So what do you think, what age groups would you say the book is for?
You know, the younger kids, 3-year-olds, just love the rhyme. But then the life lessons can go up to age 10.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes even as adults, as we read it to them, you always kind of get that affirmation, you know, that kind of reinforce the message. So let's talk a little bit about the Bye Bye Earthsuit. So
Bye Bye Earthsuit is coming out. We'll be releasing this fall. And this book, Bye Bye Earthsuit, Hello Heavensuit, stemmed from my little grandnephews who adore my husband, Barry. And the little boy started asking him, "Barry, are you going to die?" And I don't know where he got that, except he probably knew that Barry was the oldest one in our family right now. And so his little sidekick loves him, and he was afraid Barry was going to die. But as a result of that, Donna, Barry got to lead him to Jesus and tell him about heaven. So then me, being a children's author, I started looking at books about death for children. And what's out there is just nothing written from a Christian worldview. Just a lot of gobbledygook, you know, to make kids feel good, whatever. So I decided I wanted to write a book explaining death from a biblical worldview, but in a way that kids can understand it. Yeah. So I use a wonderful object lesson in this story where Nana takes her 2 grandkids to the park after Grandpa has died.
Wow.
And she takes off her sweater and throws it on the ground at one point, and she said, "Now there's no life left in it, is there? It can't move by itself." after she does all these crazy antics. And she said, that's like death. We leave our earth suits behind when we go to heaven, and we get a brand new heaven suit.
Wow.
So just in a practical way to help them understand what happens when we die. And it's not a scary thing. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. What an amazing story. Just, you know, I think of so many kids who've experienced that, you know, what a help to them.
Yeah.
And to the parents when you're trying to explain it.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, I was so close to my grandma and my Uncle Jim when I was little. I was just heartbroken when they died. And I was raised Catholic, so in my mind, I didn't know where they were, you know, because they could have been in purgatory and I had to pray them out, or they could have been in hell if they died with a mortal sin on their soul. But in my worldview at that point, nobody went straight to heaven.
Yeah.
So
that is so beautiful. Wow. So what else? Do you have any others in your head? Any books that...
Oh, I have so many stories in my head, and unfortunately, Donna, there are very few, if hardly any, Christian publishers willing to write Christian storybooks, or willing to publish Christian storybooks today. They do the board books, the nice little books for the little ones, you know, and I have some of those on my computer trying to get out. But nothing that has, you know, the moral at the end of the story, or the life lessons that you can learn, or things to build the imagination. So I have a wonderful story. It's about Willoughby, the singing lamb. So when other lambs, bah, 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 Willoughby, la 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 la's. And it's the story of how he's involved in the first Christmas night. And how he sings to baby Jesus, kind of like little drummer boy along that.
Yeah.
Okay, but of course he's an outcast because he's not supposed to be la la la, he's supposed to be ba ba ba, and he's spotted to boot. So
Oh, very good.
I have another book that I'd love to get out called Birdland's Got Talent. Much America's Got Talent all the time. And so I have a Birdland's Got Talent, and my husband and I heard a sparrow on a walk one day in our nature preserve that we walk in, and we couldn't see the bird. We couldn't figure out where this beautiful song was coming from. And this bird had a beautiful stutter at the end, like tweet, 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 tweet. And finally found out it was this common field sparrow. And I said, oh, wouldn't that make a great children's book?
Wow.
This common field sparrow that has an uncommon, beautiful stutter. So
That's amazing how you see stories in everyday life.
yes.
That is beautiful. So I would just encourage readers, because I hear you about publishing. So if we need to go out and buy more kids' Christian books, and then they will publish more Christian books.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You go in Barnes and Noble at Easter time and Christmas time, and there's Santa Claus all over and Easter bunnies all over, but you have to really hunt to find any faith-based picture books for children.
Yeah, that's a great encouragement. What advice would you give to someone wanting to be an author?
Go to writing conferences.
Yeah.
And there's so many wonderful Christian writing conferences out there. The Blue Ridge Christian Writers Conference is one. The Mount Herman. Just get online and find Christian writers conferences, and it's well worth your time because, well, for example, I went to my first one back in 2006, I think. I was told I need to write magazine articles first, and I did that because it builds up your resume. So I've been published in lots of magazines, including Clubhouse and Clubhouse Junior, which is focus on the families magazines for kids. I did that, so I would say, do that. Go to writers' conferences. Everyone you meet, Donna, says, "Oh, I have a picture book in my head," yeah. And so they see, "Here, will you read this?" And they don't have any kind of a plot line or the structure that you need for that.
Yeah, so that is helpful.
It is very helpful, even if, like I've written my whole life, but children's stories are a lot different than writing grown-up stories.
Because keeping their attention is so hard.
Yes,
now.
and you're only allowed so many words, because in today's world, Donna, a kid's attention spans is like a lot less than you and I grew up with, because they're always on their devices. And so, they just, which I hate. I hope Christian parents out there hate that too, because I want to encourage reading.
Yeah, exactly. We definitely encourage reading. So tell people where they can get Binky and Slinky to kind of go with the book, because I think that's just a great combination for a Christmas gift.
Thank you. Well, of course, this you can get from my publisher or Amazon. Both of the books can. If you want the snails, you go to my website, which is www.donnafrisinger.com. garnered.com.
Very good, and we will put a link in the comments for that.
So you can get that, and this book, and there's two other books that are prequels to this book, which are going to be redone, but I have the other versions I can sell too, like if you want to get a package deal.
All right, thank you so much. So I like to end an interview with, tell something you think the readers would be surprised to know about you.
I'm an ordained pastor.
Oh.
Evangelist. I don't really pastor, but I'm an evangelist. And my husband and I were in music ministry for years, and I just love telling people about Jesus, and love living from a Christian worldview. Although a lot of my family think I'm crazy, you know.
A lot of people think we are. It's okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I just love being able to see, and I tell readers, I just love promoting great Christian content out there, and this is definitely beautiful.
Thank you so much. So,
all right. Thank you, readers, for joining.